Great performance.
Your Bray Bro said he'll take Lil Bro and Big Bro. Keyshawn,
Who that?
Devin said he'll take Lil Bro and Big Bro.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Meaning Keyshawn and Shakur.
I want to see it.
A catchweight fight with Shakur is, I think, toughest fight because
Yes,
Shakur is everyone's
Yes, it is.
toughest fight,
You know,
which might be another way of saying he's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world because he's impossible to hit. He is very, very difficult to hit.
You gotta have one and the other. You gotta have like a Duarte and Hitchison. You're gonna have something like that. You gotta have something like that. You know?
Yeah.
That's what you gotta have when it comes to boxing.
Shakur Stevenson just put on a masterclass that has the entire boxing world at each other's throats. While some are calling him the undisputed king of the sport, others are demanding a refund. It's a war between pure, sweet science and raw entertainment.
A catchweight fight with Shakur is, I think, Crawford's toughest fight because
Yes, it
Shakur
is.
is everyone's
Yes, it is.
toughest fight,
You know,
which might be another way of saying he's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world because he's impossible to hit. He is very, very difficult to hit, which makes him extremely difficult to beat. And that goes for anyone who weighs the same as him.
Absolutely. And he doesn't care about the crowd booing. He doesn't care if everyone doesn't like his style. He's so content to stay behind that front knee. Safety first, but give you a little offense. Just like I said on the show, on air. Give us a little Mike Hoppinger, but give us a lot of Malik Scott. Give us some science, but give us some drama as well.
I'll take it.
The debate over who Shakur should step in next isn't just about weight classes. Andre Ward doesn't care if you were bored during the Teofimo Lopez fight. To him, what Shakur did was terrifying. Ward's breakdown of the performance is chilling for any potential opponent. He describes Shakur as a master of the trap, the ability to stay perfectly in range to land his own shots while remaining exactly 1 inch out of reach for his opponent. Imagine training for 3 months, sacrificing everything, only to step into a ring where you literally cannot touch the man in front of you.
Yeah, I expected more from Teofimo from a resistance standpoint. I'm not surprised that Shakur found a way to dominate. That's just who he is. You know, he's a he gets credit for being a good defensive fighter, but he's more than that. He's a master at distance and range, meaning that I'm in range to hit you, but you're not in range to hit me. And people don't understand that for a fighter, that's terrifying. You try to hit a fighter, you've been working for 8-12 weeks to do that, and you can't hit him, but then he hits you. That's terrifying, and it's demoralizing, and it's discouraging. And that's what Teofimo Lopez felt from round one. At the end of round one, I looked over and I said, he does not have any answers. He's down to one punch. So that's because of Shakur Stevenson.
Ward noticed Teofimo concede as early as the first round. In Ward's eyes, Shakur wasn't just winning, he was taking his opponent's souls by making them feel completely helpless. This is why Ward is calling for the Devin Haney fight immediately.
Okay, so, I mean, what can you say about Shakur's, easy performance against Teo?
Man, I wasn't surprised by Shakur, just proud. Surprised about Teo not making adjustments. Surprised about him not having another gear and conceding as quickly as he did. I saw him concede at the end of the first round. I looked at Jay Prince, I said, hey, he's done. Only thing he got is a big shot right now. So, and I wasn't surprised about the corner work from Teofimo Sr. because we've seen that throughout. Not saying that he didn't play his part to get Teo there. You got to give him credit. He's raised him up since he's been a baby, so he's got a lot to say about that, but there's levels to this coaching game. And you get to a point where the rah-rah stuff is not enough. You urging your fighter to do something is not enough. You got to tell him what to do and how to do it, and Senior failed in that regard. Only thing Shakur could have did different was stop him. That's the only thing he could have did different.
He wants to see 2 elite chess masters settle who has the highest IQ in the sport, regardless of how many knockout clips it produces for social media. But Henry Garcia isn't buying the hype. Ryan Garcia's father and trainer went on a blunt tear, calling the recent performance a one-sided affair that left fans feeling cheated. To Henry, the $70 price tag on a Shakur fight is becoming a hard sell.
Do you feel like the Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson fight was entertaining? Was worth the $70?
It was worth it. When the press conference that was going on and all that, it was good. I mean, we liked it. I don't know why the dad was dancing and acting like a kid. But when the fight happened, you saw one-sided. It's like the fans got robbed, but, hey, man, I like the other guys that were fighting. You know what I mean? You know? I mean, didn't you see their other fights being entertained? I mean, they're entertaining, right?
He argues that a matchup between Shakur and Devin Haney would be nothing more than a chess match that fails to deliver what the people actually pay for. Henry's take is brutal. Why would anyone pay to watch two guys who aren't power hitters run around for 12 rounds?
You know, Devin Haney put on his story the other day that him and Shakur Stevenson will be one of the biggest fights in boxing. You know, a lot of people... No?
No, it wouldn't be a big one. No. It'd be like a chess match. You know? It wouldn't be. You gotta have one and the other. You gotta have like a Torta and Hitchison. You're gonna have something like that. You gotta have something like that. You know?
Yeah.
That's what you gotta have when it comes to boxing. Or else you're just gonna waste your money. You know? That's the truth. That's what I see. Because I know the father, you know, how he thinks and all that when it comes to, you know, fighting, you know, somebody is not going to be, not a power hitter, you know, you know what I mean? Come on. Doesn't that make sense? Why would the father pick Shakur? How many knockouts does Shakur have? You know what I mean? That dude ain't fooling no one. Come on, man.
In a shocking pivot, Henry Garcia is pitching a name that most people didn't see coming for Devin Haney, Keyshawn Davis. While Shakur and Keyshawn are close friends and training partners, Henry believes Keyshawn is actually the real fight. Why? Because Keyshawn brings the one thing Henry says Shakur lacks: fireworks. He claims the blueprint on Haney is already out there, and it requires a tall, aggressive puncher who isn't afraid to get hit to land something big. And for Shakur, he believes that his son Ryan Garcia would be the perfect opponent.
What's your thoughts on Keyshawn Davis calling out Devin Haney after stopping Jermaine Ortiz in the 12th round?
Well, I would like that one instead. Yes.
Keyshawn and Devin Haney?
I would like that instead. Now that's a fight. Yes.
Talk to me.
Because, you know, now you got somebody that is not only at your level, but the guy is going to come forward, just like Ryan. Ryan, what he did to Haney, you know? And these people are going to come, their boxing IQ is really good. See, and that's something that, you know, it should happen. It should happen. That would be an excellent fight. Now, that will be entertaining, and people will pay for that. People will pay for that. You know, more than Haney and Shakur. I know what. See, that other one is about money. This one is about a fight, a real fight. And that's the truth. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you don't have a power hitter in front of you, shit, you're going to love that fight. It's going to go the distance. And, you know, in that case, may the best boxer win, you know, but it's not going to be fireworks. You ain't going to get that. So that's why I say it's all about money with them two.
Yeah.
When you have a Keyshawn Davis and a Haney, now you're forced to fight. You know what I mean? Now it's like, oh, okay, let's make this happen. And they all have the blueprint on Haney already. You know, you can't be too shorter than him. Don't do that. Because he's got a good jab. He's got a, you know, good height. And he knows how to punch. But if you're tall like him or taller, got to punch, he ain't going to want you. No way.
Is this genuine recommendation or just a delusioned father asking for a match against the biggest name in boxing right now after the loss and bans in the last few years his son has had?
In the aftermath of the fight of the weekend here in the UK, we saw obviously one of our own fighters, Conor Benn, in the ring there. What do you make of that if business takes over meritocracy, I suppose, in the sport, and Conor Benn gets an opportunity to fight Shakur Stevenson?
I think it could be fun. It's a fun fight. You know, it's going to be a fun build-up. I think that Conor Ben is dangerous. He's very strong. He's, you know what he's coming. You know what he's going to bring to the table, and you know how he's coming. And that's straight ahead. You know, he's going to step on the gas as long and as hard as he can. So I think from that standpoint, and Shakur being the smaller fighter, I think that's going to make for an interesting matchup. But I think ultimately skills and IQ and ability and ring smarts are going to win out again. I think it's going to net out with Shakur Stevenson being the dominant fighter at the end of the day.
To make matters worse, it's not just the fans and trainers giving Shakur a hard time, it's the system itself. The recent drama with the WBC and Mauricio Sulaiman has reached a boiling point. Sulaiman himself came live on an interview and shared how it was Shakur's camp that was responsible for the stripping, even though he was vague when asked about the $100,000 fees for a match they weren't even part of.
Let me give you the full story. We received a call from his management in which they requested the WBC to have Shakur Stevenson fight on a different weight category while maintaining the lightweight championship, and being this a WBC event, which even they asked for a special belt for the fight. We explained clearly that that is within the WBC rules, and that I would be very happy to convey that to the board and make it happen, because Shakur has been associated with WBC since 2019. I told his management they needed to send a written request in order to start all the process. From that point on, we had another couple of conversations. They were supposed to send a written request, which didn't happen. However, I went to the convention early December. I expressed the position, the petition, the verbal petition, and it was voted in favor. However, we needed to have everything in writing, as every promoter does, and every situation has to be taken care of. Then came December, stopped absolute communications. On January, I started again the communication requesting the petition, the sanctioning petition. And then I even involved the promoter, Matchroom. And I copied also Sela, who is closely associated with the promotions. And no response whatsoever.
Why does Shakur Stevenson need the WBC's permission to fight in a different weight class for a different sanctioning body's title?
Because he requested that permission. If you want to keep your title, there are specific rules, and these rules have been in place for decades. When you are a champion in the WBC or any other organization, you have benefits from being a champion. When you are to engage in a non-title bout or in a title bout on another weight category, up or down, you need to receive the permission from the organization to do so. And that's what we have been consistent. It has happened so many times with many fighters. There's precedent. In fact, Benavidez is fighting in May as WBC light heavyweight champion, and he's fighting in cruiserweight for another organization. He made the petition in written, and it's the exact same case that is the way it's done by the WBC rules.
Andre Ward called it absolutely ridiculous. Ward's defense of Shakur here is pivotal. He argues that the sanctioning bodies are tone deaf to the new era of boxing. They want the red carpet treatment and their fees, but they aren't the ones taking the punches. This political war is making it even harder for Shakur to land a big-name opponent, as promoters use these sanctioning headaches as an excuse to look the other way.
Whilst I'm on sanctioning bodies, what did you make of the WBC trying to charge Shakur a sanctioning fee for a fight that they weren't actually sanctioning?
It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't respect it. I don't agree with it. And for, Mauricio Sulaiman to say things like, the reason you were able to sell out Madison Square Garden and fight at that level is because you have the WBC belt is absolutely crazy. Like, there is a place for a young fighter possibly winning his first WBC belt and his stature goes up, but it's not because he has the green belt, because the last time I checked, there's also a WBA sanctioning body, there's an IBF sanctioning body, there's a WBO sanctioning body, there's Ring Magazine. So, man, I just think Mauricio Sulaiman is tone deaf about what's going on, and he just doesn't understand the shakeup with fighters, and things are changing. Fighters are looking at their contracts and looking at these fine print, and they're not only asking questions, they're making stands. Terrence Crawford made a stand. Shakur Stevenson made a stand, and they are literally richer because of it, but they're also, I think, starting a trend. And I've also had my fair share of issues with the WBC, and I've had to stand and make make public stances against them because, we're not just fighters in the ring. We're fighters in life, and we feel like we're getting pressed, especially unjustly. We're going to stand for it, and I just don't think it's going to end well for, just the WBC and what they're trying to do. Fighters are not only aware, but they're making stands against this, and they don't care if you didn't get the seat that you wanted in the fight or if you didn't get, the red carpet laid out for you. The fight week is not about you. Fight night is not about the sanctioning body. It is about the fighters. It's not about you guys ultimately, and I think he needs to understand that.
Shakur Stevenson told me that you asked for $120,000 in order for you to sanction that fight. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. In writing, we send a letter insisting on them we tried everything to avoid this situation.
Like, why do you really believe that the WBC should be entitled to $120,000, that your market value for that particular fight, which was for a WBA title, a Ring Magazine title, do you really believe that the WBC's belt...
WBO, Chris.
WBO, apologies. But do you really believe that the WBC's involvement, however, nominal, is worth $120,000?
It's worth $1 million or $1. It is not about the money.
It's a big difference. Well, it's about the money to him. It's about the money to Shakur.
Well, he chose not to continue as WBC champion, and it was his decision. It is not about the money because it's the rule. Of course, a fighter who is recognized by the WBC as a world champion has a market value, has a validity, has a seal of having a position in the boxing world at that time.
Then there are the duck allegations. Henry Garcia didn't hold back when talking about Bill Haney's strategy. Henry's theory is that the Haneys are looking for the big bag fights that offer high reward with a different kind of risk. He believes they'd rather fight someone who comes forward and trades than a ghost like Shakur. It's the ultimate backhanded compliment. Shakur is so good that nobody wants to work with him.
Who do you want to see him fight next?
I'm open, man. I'm hearing the Devin Haney thing getting tossed around. I think that's an interesting matchup. You typically have a puncher or a bruiser or a brawler and a boxer. You got two elite level guys who, man, they do a lot of the same stuff, but it just looks different. I would love to see that fight. I wouldn't mind Shakur going down to 135 and holding a belt. Well, the WBC just did what they did. So
we'll talk about them in a minute.
yeah. So I would love to see him fluctuate if he can, or take a big opportunity like Devin Haney at 47. Because I mean, if he's confident going to 47, cool. But he's not the biggest 140. So I'm not sure that I will go up to 47 unless I really felt like that's something that, hey, I want to do.
Let's take a look at this Haney versus Shakur sparring session. My initial thought is Shakur Stevenson is better longer. Devin Haney is very good. But even the Brian Norman fight, he stopped looking spectacular after a while. Prograis fight. Dropped him, hurt him, and then, you know what I'm saying? Linares got caught. Shakur Stevenson seems to be better almost like he gets better. That's the only thing. But if Shakur Stevenson don't give more angles, Devin Haney's straight punch is going to be a damn problem. Another thing, Devin Haney's defense was real nice right there. that offhand and where he was leaning, that's going to be rough.
The P4P debate is where things get truly heated. The Ring Magazine panel recently engaged in a fierce back and forth about where Shakur belongs. Some are ready to put him above Terence Crawford and Alexander Usyk right now. The argument is simple. If all these fighters were the same size, who would win? Max Kellerman and others suspect that Shakur might be the most unbeatable human being on the planet. He's the invisible fighter.
But so here's the pound for pound rankings from Ring Magazine now. Check this out, guys. Usyk 1, Inoue 2.
I love it.
Shakur Stevenson 3. Bam Rodriguez 4. Bivol 5. Beterbiev 6. But like the big news here is that Shakur had the kind of performance where I would have been okay with him, to tell you the truth, anywhere 1 through 4. I wouldn't put him at 1 for the same reason none of us would, because at a certain point, even though I think pound for pound is really what you believe in your heart of hearts, Usyk's resume is too deep. He's done too much in 2 different weight classes. He's beaten guys who are so much bigger.
Yes.
I can't put him ahead of Usyk yet. I could see the argument for him ahead of anyone else.
Did I say that, Max?
But I think actually, guys, 3 is right where he belongs. I think they put him in the most fair spot.
You said he's not 3. You put him at 2, which was going way too far.
Way too far.
One spot?
One spot?
He only did that one time. Now y'all taking credit away from Terence Crawford to Floyd Mayweather. They did those type of performances more than one time. More than 2 times. He got to do that a little bit more times than just one super fight against Tio.
Malik, was this.
That is the billion-dollar question looming over Shakur's career. He's currently ranked 3rd, sitting right behind the legends, but the pressure to produce drama is starting to weigh heavier than the belts themselves.
Really great fighters on the planet right now in different weight divisions. Where do you put Shakur when we're talking pound for pound rankings?
It's tough. You know, you got guys who have the Usyks of the world, and certain ones like that who have done it, over an extended period of time. You have to give way to that. I had to give way to Floyd Mayweather. I think, Floyd Mayweather wasn't in my generation, and if he would have stayed retired, I would have been number 1 for 4, 5, 6 years. But he was always at the top spot, and skill sets. Obviously there was, things that I did well, and championships that I won, and showed pound for pound quality, material as a fighter. But when you look at the time that he put in, I was no match for that. And I think that's the case with Shakur when you look at the Usyks and certain guys that may be above him right now. But the day is soon coming where he will be atop that pound for pound list.
Ultimately, we are at a crossroads in boxing history. On one side, you have the Andre Wards of the world who believe we should appreciate the peak of human skill and defensive mastery. On the other, you have the Henry Garcias, who believe the sport is an entertainment product first and a science project second. Shakur Stevenson is the man caught in the middle. As the fans continue to debate, the big names like Haney have a choice to make. Do they fight for the bag, or do they step into the ring with a man who might just make them look like a beginner? So that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video.